Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Enjoy Success podcast, where we explore the ideas, mindsets, and values that go into creating a truly successful company or organization. We interview leaders who have achieved success not only financially, but also in terms of culture, leadership, service, and the positive impact they make in the organizations they work with and the world at large. And by listening to their stories, insights, successes, failures, and mindsets, you will realize that you too have the ability to take the success of your company to a whole other level. Welcome to the Enjoy Success podcast. My guest today is Edward Zia, a marketing mentor and master coach, founder of Excellence Above Coaching, and his programs create master persuaders and influencers. He has mentored thousands of entrepreneurs and business people globally to help them get more clients, win top positions, and become leading personal brands. As a master grade coach, Edward has exceeded 10,000 plus personal coaching hours. He has helped entrepreneurs generate millions and millions of dollars, and more importantly than that, create lives that they truly love. Edward is a prolific content creator on LinkedIn, and he shares his wisdom and inspiration freely and consistently to his growing network of over 27,000 connections. But what I think you're going to love most about Edward is his heart. There are lots of people out there who can help you make more money, but many less who do it from such a place of integrity and values. Today, we're going to hear a little bit about his story, some of his top tips for creating success, and a little bit about his worldview in general. And most importantly, how you can take your business and your life to a place where you're enjoying the entire journey more. Edward, welcome to the podcast.
Oh, Jeff, it's an absolute honor to be here. And I've got to say, Jeff, you're a very handsome guy.
Well, thank you. That's all technology. That's smoke and mirrors here. So thank you.
Are you a deep fake? Are you? You're a deep fake.
Deep fake. This is this isn't real. This is my camera ready presence. So that's good graphic design in the background. Thank you.
I'm going to say it's an honor being here with you and your great viewers on your wonderful show. I'm pumped to be talking about how to win more with you wonderful people.
Yeah, we're excited to have you. And what we always like to do is jump in and ask our guests to define success in your words.
Yeah, well, to me, success, ironically, is in the words of the beholder. Like, success is a very subjective concept. Everyone has different versions and parameters of success. And to me, success is one's own measure of fulfillment, whatever that is.
That's beautiful. Simple and so true.
Yeah.
For you, how do you define it for you?
Well, to me personally, success has multiple pillars to create a successful life, such as, health, family, community, financial, political. So there's different parameters. My success is a very, very broad definition with a lot of parameters to it. And to me, if one of those parameters go out, you don't feel too successful in the moment. So, for example, I spend a lot of time with my family, helping people, money. I'm quite active in politics as well. So all those things come together and defines my own personal vision of fulfillment and success.
That's awesome. So can you give us just, we're going to get to the place where you work with people around the globe. You've become a really positive and powerful voice in a lot of different places. But can you take us back a little bit to your journey? How'd you get here?
Oh, sure. So, a very, very long story short. I'll start the interesting part. I'll skip all the boring stuff. No. So I was in the Australian Army a long time ago. I was a lowly yet awesome combat engineer sapper. So basically a labourer in the army. So I spent a lot of my time putting up fences, digging holes, carrying stuff. So basically a labourer in the army, which was absolutely wonderful. Then I was very lucky, based on my Middle Eastern heritage, I was very lucky to get seconded into the federal government. So I was doing very special type of drug enforcement work with the Australian Federal Police. Now, for our wonderful friends around the world, the AFP is the Australian Federal Police. They're more, it's a bit like the FBI and the CIA and a bit of the military all stuck together, is the way I can put it. And the DEA. So the type of work that I was doing was more DEA type of work, so Drug Enforcement Agency.
So that's an incredibly interesting start from. So why did you choose? I'm just going to go. What was the draw into the Army first? What was the?
So I come from a very military and policing family, and we're all military or police, right? And it's just normal. It's sort of like, well, you're going to join the military or the police force? Of course I can. Of course I
Yeah,
am. We all,
yeah.
and it's actually been like that, ironically, for centuries. So from my
Really?
yeah, so for centuries, my family's all been military policing. So it was just, in fact, a bit of trivia for you.
Yeah.
And no kidding, I'm not kidding, by the way. I'm not kidding. I'm actually the grandson of a very famous Iranian general from the Shah era.
Really?
Yeah, so when America sort of controlled Iran, like not Iran today, but original Iran, his name was General Zia, and General Yusuf Zia. I'm going back a long time, and I'm actually his grandson. So I've got this very famous. Of course, they all died in the revolution, but I'm still around, which is good.
Yeah, that is good. And so you can track your lineage back. Is that true? Actually, a thousand years?
Well, yeah. So on my Middle Eastern, with my Middle Eastern lineage, and a bit of more funny trivia for you. Have you ever played the video game Assassin's Creed?
I've seen the movie and I know it, but I haven't played the video.
Okay, I got a bit of funny trivia for you. You know it's not so much the movie, but it's more the video games. In the video games, you're actually the assassin order, right? Of assassins. I actually come from those guys, just from like over 1,000 years ago, which is quite funny. But the irony of it is that these days, we're all Christians now, and and ironically, we actually do stuff with the Templar. So the irony is that in the game Assassin's Creed, the assassins are the good guys and the Templars are the bad guys. Where in real life, it's kind of the opposite. So there you go.
I love it. I love it. In a country where it's very rare to have as much connection to our ancestry. I love that. And Zia is a great name. It feels like it should be a general's name, and it's got a great ring to it, though.
I got a bit more funny trivia. Do you want to hear my full name? Actually,
yeah,
my full
absolutely.
Name. My actual full name is Edward Ahmed Ali Muhammad Zia. So,
wow. Did you have to grow up writing that entire thing on homework and stuff?
When I was younger, my dad taught me how to write it in Arabic, but do not ask me now. Yeah. I'm English only, baby. That's all I got.
Very cool. So after you got out of the Army, then were you selected again for that specialized work in the government? How did that happen? That feels like an interesting turn.
What tragically happened to me is I got almost mortally wounded on a bad sting. So I actually ended up getting a medical discharge. So I got injured very badly, and that ended my career. So I was sort of injured. I almost died. So for me, I was way too injured to go back into the military or policing. So I ended up, the government is pretty good here in this regard. I ended up going back to uni and finishing my degree and all that. So it's crazy. So I went back to uni, finished my degree, and they're really good. So the government was very supportive. And I ended up, long story short, but I ended up working in a chemical company in a laboratory. And one day they fired me. But they said, Ed, so I did too much of this. I was talking too much. Right? I want to shut the hell up. And one day they came and fired me and they said, look, Edward, they've had enough of you. We're removing you from the lab. You're being fired. And I was like, oh, but I knew I wasn't. They said, but don't worry. We've got a job for you upstairs. We're going to pay you an extra $20,000 a year and give you a brand new car. And so that was selling. Customer service and sales.
That's kind of the best being fired story I think I've ever heard.
Yeah, one thing I'm lucky is my parents are very charismatic, so that charismatic trait always got me out of trouble and into trouble, so it was good. So very big shout out to my parents for giving me that charisma trait.
Very nice. So I also, I don't want to gloss over. So you, and we don't have to go too much, but having a near fatal, a tough experience, how do you come through? Like, how did you come through that? And you're one of the most positive people I see on LinkedIn. You have an incredibly optimistic view of life in the world. How did you navigate that in the midst of, a near mortal kind of?
For a short while there, so I had really bad PTSD and all that. And so what happened to me is I ended up burying myself in my work for a few years.
Yeah.
But what tragically happened was I'm about 41. I'm 41 now, but to give context in the interview, in my late 20s, the PTSD sort of, I don't know if you know this or not, but quite often with PTSD, you have an aftershock from it. So you can get injured badly and have a few good years, then the PTSD comes back. It's like a aftershock type of effect.
Yeah.
And I got it really bad and it ended up destroying my life. So I ended up, losing my job, lost everything. So I ended up, ironically, after having a few very successful years in corporate Australia, actually being a homeless veteran, ironically. I sort of was living in my car, and it was in that and before that, like I ended up, I'm quite a strong Christian and got quite a strong spiritual faith. So it was during those, I was probably homeless for about 10 months, right, living in my car, and it was in those moments actually where I got really spiritually grounded, and I really decided what I want to do with my life. So massive reboot, and I sort of came back. Actually, I spent my 30th, as a homeless guy. But what was interesting about it was that I said around about that time, where do I want to be? I want to become, this is before LinkedIn and sort of Facebook took off. I was saying to myself, you know what? I want to be some kind of global speaker and motivator and influencer. And 10 years later, there you go. Crazy how things work out.
I love it. It reminds me of that one quote. People often overestimate what they can get done in 1 year, but underestimate what they can get done in 10. And you really have that amazing story, the literal, kind of rags to riches and overcoming a massive challenge. I never want to gloss over that. I think a lot of times when people get a chance to meet someone now and they see the charisma, they see the success, they hear the stories, they forget that that's not how it always was.
Yeah, and it's funny. Sometimes, and I know you're not. I'm not saying any of you, the viewers are, but sometimes you get people that miscast me. They sort of come along and they imply that, well, Ed, you've always been like it, and you've got a silver spoon in your mouth. And I'm like, no, You're totally misreading me. That is not the reality that I've lived in. And this is a big point, right? This is a big point. That luck's a huge factor. Like a lot of people say shit like, and I don't agree with this. Oh, the harder you work is the luckier you get. Well, I agree with that, but you got to remember, some people are born with millions of dollars. Some people die when they're born. So you can't say luck isn't a factor, right? So a lot of people try and make out, I create my own luck. Okay, so a person who's born without arms, did they create, it breaks down, you know what I mean? That expression, it doesn't take long to break that expression down into just hyperbole, right?
Yeah.
So luck's a huge factor, but having said all that, I am a huge advocate of you got to play the hand that you're dealt.
So how, and I think that's a really nice tip. Can you share a little bit about, again, you've been in kind of the toughest of times and also all through the journey. How do you stay focused on the hand you've been dealt? What is something you do to kind of stay in that space instead of externally focused?
A lot of it is prayer and Christianity, which is very important, right? So, prayer, spiritual conviction, that is all very important because, in fact, it's that sort of Christian background that really is, I'll tell you now, if it wasn't for my Christian beliefs, there's no way I'd be talking to you right now. Not going to happen. I wouldn't be in this position. I would not be as successful as I am now if it wasn't for, Jesus and Christianity. And again, I'm not trying to turn this into the Benny Hinn show or anything like that. Right? I'm not going to come on in a white suit or anything, albeit it is a light-colored shirt.
You have a little halo. It does look like with the sun behind you, you got a little halo. So yeah.
Yeah, I should say, if you really want to believe in Jesus, put $10 in the box and give it to me. No, I'd say that. If you want to really believe in Christ, get out your credit card and donate right now.
The number below, yeah.
Yeah, you want to believe in Jesus? Give me $100. That's a joke.
Yeah.
No, but seriously though, it's that spiritual background, and on that point, it's kind of funny actually. I sort of came out as a Christian when being a Christian was not like these days. Being a Christian's a pretty cool thing, right? It's sort of the in thing, right? You've got like Chris Pratt, Justin Bieber, you got Katy Perry, you got all these famous Christians running around, right? But when I sort of came out as a Christian, Christianity was not a cool thing. Right? It was like saying you were gay in the 50s. You just became a social pariah really quickly.
Yeah.
Whereas these days, being a Christian's our cool thing. It's kind of hip. Where in the time where I came as a Christian, I was like, I was a bit of an outcast actually.
Well, what I love about I think that this idea of being so firmly rooted in who you are, in what you believe, that you don't mind being yourself, regardless of what that's going to mean or how it's going to be received, is a really powerful place for people to get to, regardless of what that spiritual base or their center is. And I think that's just really important. All the really great leaders that we get a chance to talk to are so grounded in who they are, that they don't mind taking those risks, and they know that it's somehow okay. Where a lot of us, like, our egos are very, very sensitive to that outer reflection or the outer judgment of others.
And one thing that people, and I always say this too, I know we get it, and I know our wonderful and attractive viewers get it. Thank you for viewing this podcast. Your friends watching. If you're male, you're beautiful. If you're female, you're beautiful. You're all beautiful, right? One of the big things I was going to say is, and I always, and talking again, I'm not here to talk politics from a partisan sense. I mean politics as an overall sort of philosophy, right? The one thing I always say to people is that the worst, if you want to make someone really strong in their beliefs, attack them for it. Right? So I'll give you, and again, I'm not taking a side here, but I'll just use like Trump supporters as an example, right? The Trump supporters get attacked all day and night, right? By the media, by other factions of politics. They get attacked all the time. But what it does is it makes them harder Trump supporters. It drives them more in that direction. It's like when there's two people together, they shouldn't be together, and you say to the girl, you shouldn't date that guy, he's a bum. It makes her fall in love with him. You know that?
Yeah. Yeah.
A lot of people forget that. If you attack someone's beliefs, you're going to make them cling to those beliefs and go harder. It's human nature.
It is. Is that part of, as you're working with people who aren't naturally charismatic necessarily, or they're looking to become better persuaders and influencers, without giving away trade secrets and so on, what are some of the things that you start with as kind of the beginning step for people to move in the direction of becoming a better persuader and influencer?
Well, the first thing is understanding what someone wants to do. Like, what are you trying to persuade people to? Why do you want to become an influencer? And in very simple terms, a very common motive for becoming an influencer is, I want to become really successful and I want clients to come to me. And it's talking money for the moment. One of the big reasons or benefits of becoming a master persuader and influencer is, imagine business comes to you.
Yeah.
So for example, I have 3 new meetings a week. No, probably 5 new meetings a week, be it face-to-face in Sydney or over the, WhatsApp if it's global, right? I don't ask for those meetings. Like 2 years ago, if I had a meeting, it's me asking for it. I have meetings all the time. I don't ask for them. And that's because I'm an influencer. Because when you're an influencer, people and business come to you, and that's the whole point of it, from a commercial viewpoint, that is.
Sure. And it sounds great, but how, again, when I hear that, and I think a lot of our viewers as well, it's like, oh, well, but he got to already having 27,000 people that.
Oh yeah. Like, I just started off that way.
Yeah.
I just started my LinkedIn account and said 27,000 followers.
Yeah.
And it was just all this content that was pre-populated. Yeah, that's the way it was. Yeah, that's what happened. Yeah.
Yeah, so I just wanted to, just a little disclaimer. Edward just had it easy. There were just all this stuff. It was already there. Yeah.
Yeah. So when I opened my LinkedIn account, I just had all these followers and all this content already created. It was just there automatically.
So take us through how long, give us a little bit of those early days. What was, because I think that, we can see the prize, but often the will and the determination, persistence to get from starting to there is hard for a lot of us to stay true to that. So can you walk us? Yeah.
Yeah. So telling my own story. So what happened was, what I'm doing now on LinkedIn, I actually tried doing on Facebook 4 or 5 years ago and failed. Okay. So originally, before LinkedIn sort of became the advanced platform it is now, which is awesome and great job for Microsoft, I originally tried to do what I'm doing now on Facebook, and I just could never get there. I just could never get the traction. I could never get that base of supporters. And in hindsight, I have the answer for that. What it was that my personality, my clients aren't really heavily into Facebook. Mm-hmm. And my personality is not quite suited to, my directness and style is not quite suited to Facebook. So in a way, I was a little bit ahead of my time, which was bad. What was interesting, one of my very good friends, maybe about 1.5 years ago, said, Ed, you got to walk away from Facebook and come into LinkedIn. And the irony is that within 3 months of LinkedIn, I achieved more than I did in 3 years on Facebook. Because I was the right person on the wrong platform.
Yeah.
But it's like an employee. You can get the right person, the wrong company, they don't get anywhere. You stick them in the right company and they take over the place. So when I was put in the right platform, it then allowed me to thrive.
So I love that. And again, I'm curious. So what happens if, is LinkedIn the right platform for all business people who are trying, has that become democratized and it really is the right place for everybody? Or are again, you a little bit unique in the fact that you just are charismatic, you have lots of ideas for content and it just all works for you? But can you actually help create people to be influencers?
Well, it's of course, and you got to remember, everyone's different, right? Like some people more run meetups, some people are more Insta influencers, some people are it all depends who are your customers, who you're trying to talk to, right? That's point one. And the second point is that you said a great word, democratizing, and that's a beautiful thing. Platforms like LinkedIn democratizes the conversation. It gives everyone, so the opportunity I have to use LinkedIn, everyone's got that, provided you've got decent internet access, which everyone does, it's a human right. I think they said it's a human right, which is great, right? If you've got good internet access and technology, everyone's got the same opportunity, right? But it depends if it's for you. LinkedIn is not for everyone. Creating content is not for everyone. It depends on you, what you want to do with your life and what kind of business. And not everyone wants to become an influencer. Becoming an influencer is not for everyone. Absolutely not.
So I think that's also important as people are trying to grow their business or that ideal situation where business is coming to them, people are asking for meetings with them. That sounds, like nirvana. That's the end game.
Believe me, it's wonderful. From a guy who used to chase ambulances, basically, right? I used to do all the chasing, right? And I had enough of it. And I'm like, I can't do this the rest of my life. When you go from completely outbound to inbound, there is no better feeling. It's wonderful.
So, okay, so let's assume we're like, we can all do a little bit more inbound. How do we start to get centered to, or, what are a couple of the tips? Obviously it has to be good content, providing value. Can you share a few of the things that people should be considering?
Yeah, so 3 tips. Really update your LinkedIn. Like, I'll just talk LinkedIn just to keep the conversation tight. Again, I'm more of a LinkedIn guy. I'll talk LinkedIn, but a lot of what I'm saying also goes for like Facebook and Insta. But I'll talk LinkedIn, so that's more my expertise, right? But this does also go for Facebook and Insta, what I'm saying. So in terms of LinkedIn, for example, have a really good profile. Really, I don't care if you have to stay up for 20 hours straight, make your LinkedIn profile brilliant, right? Time to it. Second point, share really good content every day that helps people from your professional viewpoint, okay? And the third point is connect with the right people and have personal conversations.
I love that. Let's break it down just a little bit, because I think this is, I'm just taking some notes here. This is awesome. So
that's realized to me, there's on a funny note, I shouldn't be doing, I'm fidgeting with, right next to me is a packet of tomato sauce that I'm fidgeting with. I'm just been playing with it. You play it like a stress ball. It's like, it feels good.
It does. That'll feel, that's the perfect stress ball, because if you're too stressed, you get a little bit of a shock as it splashes over you if you push too hard, and that'll probably snap you out of it. Yeah. Awesome. So first of all, making your profile brilliant. I think that's an easy one. And it's how people are seeing you, and initially that first impression online, your digital self. So take the time and make that brilliant. I think that's a no-brainer. Share content daily. So this is exciting. Tell me a little bit about how your routine to get into sharing something daily. That feels a little overwhelming as I hear it for the first,
A great place to start is start doing daily videos. Just do 1-2 minute videos giving tips.
Now, as you know what, and that's what's so cool about yours is I watched that you grab whatever's topical, right? Like you are putting out a bunch of awesome stuff right now on the coronavirus, dealing with it, being
Yep.
not losing your cool. That was the one that I watched just yesterday. You know, so what I hear in that is like, if we stay topical, there's always something to talk about. Is that?
Yeah, totally. Totally. But you stay topical with respect to your professional viewpoint.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I talk about things from a topical viewpoint, but I'm staying within my own professional expertise.
Right. And that's an important distinction. Don't just talk about stuff. Make sure that you're continuing.
One criticism I want to make a lot of the people is they're sharing health advice on corona. Like okay, I'm not saying it's not like they're going to the White House or the Australian government and sharing that. I'm doing that. I'm fine. But they're creating their own content on how to medically deal with the coronavirus. And it's like, dude, you're a website developer.
Yeah. Right? Stay in your lane. Stay in your lane.
And a lot of people on corona, they all think they're Doogie Howser. You know what I'm saying? They'll think they'll think they got a degree in biochemistry or medicine, and they're all like giving tips on dealing with corona. And it's like, I'll share government stuff, but I know way more about biochemistry and medicine than they do, and I won't even go there because it's not my. Again, I'm only going to swim my own lane. So, swimming out of your lane is a really dumb thing to do. And if you're doing it, I encourage you to stop it because it's not helping you or anyone. It's embarrassing you.
Yeah, I think that's really important. It is. Just don't do it. Like flat out, just don't do it.
So when I talk about corona, I'm not like, well, you need to wash your hands and use disinfectant. Like I'm not, I'm not the, I'm not the Department of Hand Sanitizer. What I'm getting at is I'll talk about it from a mindset point of view, a business point of view, a marketing point of view. So I'm qualified to do that.
Right. That's awesome. And then finally, the connections. Talk a little bit again. You have so many people. How do you engage in conversations and manage, the amount that you have right now? What?
It all depends on who's talking to me, because sometimes, like if I get a lead in, people will quite directly saying, "Hey, Ed, I'm looking for a coach or mentor. I'd love to talk to you."
Yeah.
Very easy conversation, right? But let's say someone just adds me on LinkedIn and they look pretty cool, and I'm like, I'm okay to connect with them, right? The first thing I do is I might send them an invite to my next live webinar. I might send them a few links, but then I'll always send a video or a voice message saying, "Hey, thanks for connecting with me. How are you? What's going on?" So I'll start a conversation. And sometimes people just want to connect with me just for the sake of connecting with me. And quite a few will turn around and say, "Yeah, and I'm interested in what you do and how you can help mentor me." Sure. What do you want to know? And then just have a normal sales conversation.
I love it. I think that would be worth it. If people, thankfully, I think more and more people are clear on the benefits of having a good mentor and a great coach. Can you share a little bit about how people could be thinking about that to know when that's right and how the beginning part of that conversation? I think it's
now just as a quick caveat, I'm not a coach for everyone. Getting a coach is a very personal thing. So just because I say I'm a brilliant coach, I may not be the right coach for you.
Yeah.
Right. So that's caveat number one. Hiring a coach is a very, very personal experience. Okay. So I've got coaches that I hire, and two of my top coaches that I work with are Brad Burton and Stefan Thomas, and they're in the United Kingdom. Right. Because they really get me. There are the few people that really understand me. Right. And I have clients from Miami that hire me because I understand them. Same logic. Now, the point is that the right coach, and I say the right coach at the right time, will help you fast track your success.
I love that. And can you give an example? What I'd like to know is how do people? I just meet someone, they're halfway around the globe. How does that work? That's all of a sudden, what happens that my business then can get fast tracked?
Well, what it is that depending on what you need. So I'll just use LinkedIn as an example, right? So let's say someone wants to become a big influencer on LinkedIn and become really popular. You can spend 2-3 years figuring it out, or I can tell you in 10 minutes how to do it. You pick. Give Edward some money. He'll tell you in 10 minutes, or spend 3 years figuring it out. You pick.
Yeah, you pay. Up to you. So, and that's what I think is so powerful for people to get is the right coach, the right mentor is leverage. It's time leverage, right?
Right time. You have to get the right coach for you at the right time, and you have to be ready to do it. Okay.
And what's the right time? What are the qualifiers for someone to be ready in terms of the time for them?
Well, they have to be ready to take action on what they learn. Point one, they got to have the money to not only pay for the coaching, but also fund their business expansion, right? And they also got to have the support structure in place for them to do that.
I'm so curious. I love it. You work with hundreds and possibly thousands of people. Yeah, around the globe. Do you find human nature to be similar around when it comes to business and your field in particular? Do you find people struggling with the same kind of things? Is it?
Oh, yeah, it's identical. Like talking to someone in Florida,
yeah,
no different to talking to someone in London.
What's the number one thing that people suck at in terms of creating success in their business? What's the biggest challenge?
From an influencer point of view, being consistent, because one of the challenges, and no one talks about this, but I will, right? One of the challenges of being an influencer is to be a successful influencer, you have to have very strong daily consistency. So I'll tell you now, and again, no one will say this, but I will, right? I just dropped my tomato sauce, so I can't play with it anymore. It's just down there somewhere. Yeah, I can't play it. So I have to play with my phone. I'll stop fidgeting. I need to straighten up on the camera. Next time. What it is, right? I gotta work on my posture. Anyway, so what it is that daily consistency. So as an influencer, you have to have really good daily consistency, or you won't become an influencer, or you won't sustain it at least, right? So you have to be real. You have to put out content every day. If you don't put out content every day, it's not going to work out.
How do you get into that rhythm? Do you have a process to make sure that you're getting your daily content out? How do you go about that on a daily basis to make sure?
The process is, do I want to be successful or not? I kind of do. All right, you better put out some content.
So it's that seems like the guiding principle. Do you put it into your planner like in the mornings?
Yeah, of course I do.
Content creation and get it out is yeah.
Of course I do. Yeah, that's very important. It's very important. Because that's the price of being an influencer is you got to put out content. Like, I'll give you an example. If I stop putting out content tomorrow, everyone's going to forget about me in 30 days.
Right. If you're not in front of them, you're forgotten. There's a short window. Yeah, there's a short window.
And I'll use a very famous political example of I'm going to use Trump versus Hillary Clinton.
Yeah.
Right? And I could be wrong on the details here. So Trump should not have won that election. He was up against the Clinton dynasty and the whole media establishment, but he won, didn't he? Right? He shouldn't have won. Now, you know the state of Wisconsin, right?
I do. I'm from Wisconsin.
Oh, are you? Oh,
yeah.
There you go. I got a question for you. Then, Jeff. How many times did Donald Trump hold rallies in Wisconsin?
I live in California. It's been years since, but I'm a native Wisconsinite, so I don't know the answer to that one. I'm sorry. I'm failing my home state right now.
Yeah. Now, great. Now, I could be wrong. I think Trump went there. I could be wrong. I think he went there 3 times or twice. I could be wrong. Right. But this is the bit I'm not wrong about. How many rallies did Hillary Clinton hold in Wisconsin?
Yeah, I don't know if. Yeah. 0.
Who won Wisconsin?
Yeah.
Trump did. And that's my point. And I use that as a very famous influencer example because Trump has been an influencer for decades, right? So as an influencer, Trump knows the game inside out. Hillary has not been an influencer. She's been a politician for decades. So Trump knew the deal. He knew if he goes and holds shows in all these states, he'll pick them up. And he did.
Yeah, I think that's that idea of showing up and being consistent is relevant in life, success in life as a principle in a lot of ways. You want a good relationship, you got to show up and be consistent in the relationship. You want a good business, be a good leader. You want to be an influencer. I think that the principle behind that is really powerful and easy. It's easy to remember, but hard to stay true to. It's easy to.
And that's the thing. And using Trump as just a great example of that, he's the ultimate influence. Now, whether you hate or love Trump, he's one of the most powerful influences of all time, right? No one's going to debate that. It's just a fact, right? Because the thing you got to remember is, and I use this as another example on Twitter. Not that I'm a Twitter guy, right? Twitter's a pretty crazy. I try to stay off Twitter, right? But on Twitter, I remember Hillary would post like maybe once a day on Twitter, like during the campaign. Trump would be posting 5-10 times a day.
So
and he won. And using that as an example, to be a successful influencer, it's that daily influence that makes you powerful. And so by building that daily consistency, that creates the foundation to become a powerful influencer.
I think what's really nice about this idea of being consistent too is it keeps us really present to what we want to be sharing and to our message. If you have to put out a piece of content on something in your field, in your area, come up with a creative way of sharing it each day. To me, there's kind of no better way to continually be sharpening your sword on the way you want to present things. And you're trying something every day, so you're seeing what lands and what people respond to. You're getting immediate feedback. Like, there's so many benefits, in my opinion, to putting a piece of content out there and being willing to watch that for feedback, and then learn from that as well. So, because we don't go from 0 to 27,000 or 30,000 people overnight. Yeah. And I hope that that's also not that's not the message. We've interviewed several influencers, and I think the consistency is, there's been a couple consistent things, is be personal, be accessible. I love this, be accessible, and then be consistent and provide value. And that's where I wanted to kind of bring this with you, is I feel you do a brilliant job of providing value every day. So how do you think about, how do you think about the world and people and providing value? Because I think that's, when you're creating something, if you're creating it from, I really want this to help people versus I really want this to give me a client, it feels slightly like a different starting point. Can you share a little bit?
Well, the thing is, when I create content, I have a mixture of posts. So during a given day on LinkedIn, I'll have a stack of different posts. Some posts will be more value related. Some posts are called call to actions, which I promote myself. So I might do a video giving you a business tip. I might also do a post on LinkedIn saying, would you like to be coached and mentored by me? Message me. So you do a mixture of call to actions and value.
I think that's really nice too. And I have now been watching a couple of the influencers that I've had a chance to meet, and that ask is really nice. I don't, in a weird way, I don't know why it's so inviting, but versus a traditional someone trying to sell me something. I don't know why I don't have that reaction at all. Do you have any? Yes. I
can answer that now. The reason is that because you've already built trust with the person. So like 80 to 90% of my posts are value, right? 1 out of 10 is me selling myself.
Yeah.
No one's going to give you a hard time on that one. You know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, let me use tipping as an example, right? Let's say, like, I'm the Middle Eastern guy. So you're the handsome white guy, and I'm the Middle Eastern guy who's carrying purse, right? We'll just play some funny stereotypes there. So you come into the Hilton, and I'm the Middle Eastern guy who, who carries your bags, right? And let's say, I don't know, you come in, because you're quite a wealthy, handsome white guy from California, Wisconsin originally. You have all these bags and stuff, and they're really heavy. And I put them all on the bell trolley, and and I'm working hard for you. I'm covered in sweat. I'm wearing a suit. I take them upstairs. I take them all upstairs for you. I show you around the room. I do a really good job, and then I put out my hand, right? You'll have no problem if I've worked really hard and I'm covered in sweat. You might even give me a 50 or 100, right? And because I've helped you, I don't feel bad putting out my hand. And because you're a wealthy white guy from California, Wisconsin originally, you're like, yeah, this guy's really cool.
Yeah.
I'll stuff it. It's $100. And I know that because one of my friends actually works at the Hilton, and he does that in Sydney. And he's actually had people give him $100. right? And he says, it's always and you Americans are the most generous tippers ever. So he says, I won't name and shame races, but basically, if it's an American, he's turning on the charms. He says they're the best tippers. Like he'll get like $100.
Well, there's a lot of things we don't do well. So we'll take good tippers as one of them.
Yeah, he has to declare it though, so he can't keep it in there. So he then declares it and they share it, which is all cool.
Yeah.
But the thing is that what I'm trying to say here, it's when you give value, you get it back. It's very important.
I think there's two things in there that I just love about that is there's no like I don't know if it's like there shouldn't be any nervousness or weirdness or awkwardness in asking for business when you've been providing value, and that's your giant lion's share of your energy going out is to be there and
on that note, let's say someone doesn't like me, they can remove me as a connection.
Yeah,
it's like piss off, go away, right? And this is the side of being an influencer. As an influencer, and I had a rough year last year accepting this, you need to accept that when you're an influencer, people either like you or hate you. There's no in between anymore, right? People either like, Ed's the great, like no one ever says to me, Ed, I've got no feelings towards you. I'm either the greatest guy ever and I'm awesome, or I'm like, I kick puppies on the weekend. There's no in between, right?
Yeah.
Either the best person ever, or I'm just a lunatic who's just evil, right? And that's the way it is. You polarize people. So I'm either awesome or some kind of weirdo.
How do you? And this is probably me again projecting that people listening will have the same issue. But how do you create the insulation around when you do have haters, when that stuff is coming towards you?
What's beautiful about LinkedIn is LinkedIn has got really good blocking functionality. So you can delete comments and block, right? So LinkedIn has the right functionality to make that happen, which is really, really, really cool. The second point is you also have to get used to it. So that's the other. So if you want to become an influencer, you have to get used to people trolling you.
I think that's I'm going to just take this again more to a broader sense, but I think when I hear that, I have two reactions. My initial reaction is, ooh, like I really would prefer if everyone just liked me. That would be my preference. And then second, I feel like, but I know that's not the case. Like, and it needs to be really okay with me. And what a brilliant forum to practice and just get a thicker skin. And like you said,
you have to.
More conviction in who you are, right? Which is one of your original points, is if someone attacks you, it really heightens and clarifies the strength of your conviction around whatever that was.
And I'll give you a very funny example.
Yeah,
so in Australia, I'm quite active in politics here, right? So just to be in full disclosure to the audience. So we got a slightly different language. So I'm actually a member of the Australian Liberal Party, right? However, we mean liberal in the British sense of the word, not your version of the word. So when I say liberal, I always have to say we're like Republicans, basically, right?
Okay.
So in Australia, liberal means, it's weird. Blue in Australia is liberal, and we're Republicans, so to speak.
Okay.
Whereas Labor, which is red, are like the lefties, the socialists. You know what I'm saying? So it's a little bit opposite, right? So when I say I'm a liberal, people think I'm some kind of weirdo on YouTube or something. No, I'm a normal person. Like, I'm like, no. So we're like Republicans, so to speak, right? We're sort of Republicans on a lot of things, not everything, right? But what's funny about it though is one of my really good friends is a massive lefty, right? We get along, great guy, but a massive lefty. And he always attacks me for my political views. And one time I spoke to him and I said, look, and what's funny is I'm a Middle Eastern guy and he's a white guy. He called me a racist. Okay. So you're getting this, it's getting weird already, the conversation.
Yeah, right. So
I'm like the Middle Eastern guy married to a Chinese woman with half Asian kids, and I'm like a racist. So Middle East, man of color married to a Chinese woman, white guy calling me a racist. Already a weird conversation. You know what I'm saying?
Right? Yep.
Story gets funnier. is I once sat down, it was at the gym, right? Actually, great guy, by the way, great guy. He's a great guy who's been misinformed. That's why I said, great guy, good heart. Anyway, I said to the guy, look, when you attack me, how do you think I feel? And the moment smart guy, the moment I said that, he just paused. And he goes, yeah, okay, I'm getting you. And I said, when you attack me, and he goes, no, I get it. And I get it. I said, that's the problem. If you want to create political change, the worst thing you can do is walk up to me and call me names. If you become friends with me and then say, look, Ed, by the way, can I talk to you about a few? Yeah, Ed, I think you're a great guy. Can I talk to you about a few things and ask you some questions? You might actually be able to persuade me. Now, the irony is, I speak to a lot of lefties and I end up persuading them to become conservatives because I don't judge them or call them names. I become friends with them. And I say, hey, why do you think I'm a racist? Why do you think that? And when you do that, they kind of freeze because I'm not judging, I'm just asking you questions. And they're sort of like, oh, well, you're a racist because I don't know why you're a racist. Okay, let's talk about that. Who told you? And then that way you start basically you start deconstructing them, and then you start helping them think logically. Does that make sense?
Totally. I think that translates super well in business as well. This idea of relationship selling and building a relationship first. You said it earlier, is people have already gotten to trust you because they've been able to read your content and experience you and your personality for as long as they'd like. And then when they choose to engage, there's already a relationship. And this idea of making friends, I love that idea in business as well. As we're so quick to defend and try to protect our own beliefs and all those things. But this idea for business as well is very similar. We're trying to influence someone to be open to giving something that we do, a service we do, our product we provide, a chance. And maybe they're looking for it and it's easier. But for those that are kind of wishy-washy, building a relationship, and then they're like, oh man, I love Ed. I love what he's about. Well, maybe I should try being mentor. I've thought about it, but right. And do you find that, like, is this what's now really unlocked?
Absolutely. And that's one of the reasons. So for example, case in point, Jeff, every week I do a free live webinar. No selling. Like, I sell for like a minute at the end, but it's like it goes for an hour and 5, an hour and 4 minutes is value, and 1 minute's Ed selling. So 99% selling, content, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, come buy from me. No. I do it every week. It's free. I have people every week saying to me, Ed, your free webinar is better than the webinar I'm doing in this mentoring program I'm paying $1,000 US a month for. And what this happens all the time, people say, oh, by the way, I get Ed, my program finishes and I'm joining your and it's great, right? It's great. Because the point the point I'm making is that I'm not judging people. I'm not trying to sell. I'm just trying to help people. When you do that, out of that, some people will come and work with you.
I think that's like fundamentally crucial for people to listen to. If you're listening to this, no matter what you do, no matter what your service is, it's not necessarily for everybody. So if some people don't want what you're doing, that's fine. But the people who are looking for it, if your genuine intention is to help them, and in this case, I love what you're doing, giving away an hour of like the gems and the secrets and the tips or whatever it is that you're giving, and then and an invitation. If you'd like more, if you want to do this, and all of that to me just feels like, and I think it seems so obvious, but I think it's rarely done. It's like, yeah.
Because a lot of people think, oh my God, I got all these tips and gems. Like you said to me earlier in the podcast, if you don't mind sharing trade secrets, I share trade secrets all the time.
Yeah.
Right. That's why I'm so popular.
Yeah.
Right. Like, besides being incredibly handsome,
there's that. The chiseled features.
I even freshly shaved for this podcast as well, so I know you can't feel, but it's smooth as a baby's bottom.
Baby bottom smooth, right? Yeah.
It's hard to shave. I'm a Middle Eastern guy. Believe me, this grows back in an hour, so it's hard, right? But seriously though, you give, and that's how you build trust. And look, at the end of the day, let's say someone comes to my webinar and it's like, man, that Ed talks too much or he's full of himself. I hate him. Okay. They'll just block me and I won't talk to them again. It's fine. It's the whole point of a sales funnel, isn't it? The whole point of a sale, as you know, obviously you get a sales funnel well. What's the point of a sales funnel? Bring in tons of people. The people that like you coming through. The people that don't like you move on. Awesome.
I love this. I love that we live in a state in a day and an age where everyone in the entire world has access to you. That provided they have internet access, like you said. But this idea of what you're saying, being able to learn directly from you in multiple ways, whether it's through a program or individual coaching or mentoring. I love that we live in a world where I could live anywhere and still have access to you as you sit in Sydney, Australia, and shorten that time from me becoming what I want by being able to leverage the knowledge and wisdom and experience you already have.
And in that light, I want to give a big shout to a big shout out to Microsoft, a big shout out to LinkedIn, because I actually read this the other day, LinkedIn's mission. In fact, don't move. I'm going to actually read you out LinkedIn's mission. It's really inspiring. You don't mind if I read it out to you?
No.
The big shout out to LinkedIn. LinkedIn's amazing. Big shout out to Neil from LinkedIn Sydney. They're all my friends that tell me all the cool stuff. But I'm going to read out LinkedIn's mission to you. And this is just on the LinkedIn website. And I love it. I'm just going to read it out to you, right? So hear me out. You're listening, Jeff?
I got you. Go ahead.
Okay. Welcome to LinkedIn, the world's largest professional network with nearly 660 million users in more than 200 countries and territories worldwide. Amazing. Next point. This is their vision. Create economic opportunity for every member of the global workforce. I'll say it again. Create economic opportunity for every member of the global workforce. Isn't that exciting?
I love it. And, what I love about also what you're sharing is, you're using a platform where you really believe in their mission and feel like they're really delivering on that. And I think that that's also, we're voting with our dollars and our time on not only companies and products that we like, but what they stand for. And so I think they're doing a great job of that as well.
And the thing that I'll read it, and this is I'll read their mission as well. This is just on their page here, so stand by. The mission of LinkedIn is simple. Connect the world's professionals to make them more productive and successful.
Yeah. I don't know.
How can you disagree with that? If you disagree with that vision and mission, there's something wrong with you. How can you disagree with that? It's great.
What I think is so interesting, and I would be curious on your input on this, is I think a lot of companies have spent the time and have a very clever or good mission. A lot of websites you could find that and it's like, oh, that sounds great. I remember an example, someone read to me these beautiful values for their company and a beautiful mission. And then they said, guess who this is? And I was like, I don't know, Google or, someone that I loved that I thought was doing a great job. And they're like, Enron. This is Enron's, and it was right before or right after the debacle there. And so I think there's a huge difference between just having, nice, pretty words and actually being that. And
the thing on that one with LinkedIn and Microsoft, LinkedIn is delivering on its vision and mission. You know that, right? Yeah. You know that because every day you jump on the platform, the people at LinkedIn, and just to sort of pull rank a bit as well. I've spent quite a bit of time with a team at LinkedIn Sydney. So a bit of context for the global audience.
Yeah.
So Sydney, of course, is the biggest. Sydney is not the capital of Australia, but it's the biggest city in Australia, right? 4.6 million. It's maybe 40% the size of New York. But in Sydney, you have one of the largest LinkedIn offices in the world. So basically, for the Southern Hemisphere, you have one of the largest LinkedIn offices. So basically, for the Southern Hemisphere, a lot of stuff is done out of LinkedIn Sydney, right, for the south end of the planet. And the point I'm making with that one is that I've spent time in their offices. Their people are amazing. So LinkedIn hires great people. They're amazing, and they're so generous. They're the actual people that you work for LinkedIn, is the sort of person you want to hang out with on a Friday night. So LinkedIn, and to give you some context as well, I'm not kidding by the way. When you go on a LinkedIn, it is luxury, right? Like if you like in Sydney, working at if you're in the tech industry, if you're working at LinkedIn, you've made it. That's like top of town, right? If you're working for LinkedIn, that's like big cigar territory.
Mm.
You know, and I'll give you an example. When my friend Neil took me through there a few months ago, we got a cool photo and everything. I'm not kidding, by the way. He goes, "Oh yeah, so when you arrive, we have muesli and breakfast. Then they serve morning tea. We have all lunches provided. Then we have afternoon tea. And if you're staying back late, you let them know and they'll make you a little food pack." I'm like, dude. And I said, "Are you going to leave LinkedIn anytime soon?" He goes, "Only to start $1 million company in a week." Like, it's just, I'm not surprised why LinkedIn's doing so well, because right from starting a technology, it's an amazing company.
Yeah. Well, I think it's a really good case study, and I appreciate you saying that, but because there's a lot of lessons in there. And I think, you know, as we kind of bring this towards the home stretch, when people are doing things correctly, whether they're a small startup or a multi-national global company, when you do the fundamentals correctly, you hire great people, you create a great culture, you take care of those people, you have a strong, clear mission, you deliver on that mission, things go well, and people end up speaking about you like you're speaking about Microsoft and LinkedIn, and the same that your clients speak about you when they work with you. And I think that's the greatest gift. Like, that's what we really want, is obviously someone else talking about us and what we do and what our company does with the same enthusiasm and excitement that you just shared for Microsoft, right?
The thing with LinkedIn as well, this is where I defend LinkedIn. LinkedIn and Microsoft are not perfect companies, right? LinkedIn, again, blue screen of death. You know what the blue screen of death is from Windows, right? We all know the blue screen of death from Windows.
Yeah.
And it has bugs in it. LinkedIn's not perfect. However, they are trying. LinkedIn has the users at heart, and they're doing their best in a very complex world to help people. When something goes wrong, they're on it. And, you know, nothing but respect for them. And I suppose on that point is that from an influencer point of view, LinkedIn and Microsoft have given us as you said, a democratized platform where the global workforce has access to an opportunity.
It's beautiful. So, there's so much in that too, because I also like the lesson that we don't have to be perfect with what we're doing, but we have to respond to, you know, like, it's okay. People will be forgiving of imperfection if, again, we work our hardest to try to take care of the problems and the issues that come up when they do come up. And people can be very forgiving when that's their experience of your company or your organization. So very beautiful. But as we head into this, I want to make sure people know where they can find you and where they can get back into, you know, kind of get more into your world. Where can people find you?
Best thing to do is add me on LinkedIn, but don't just hit the add key, because I might miss you. You have to say, Jeff Baietto is a good-looking guy. So if you say Jeff Baietto is a good-looking guy, I'll definitely accept you. Don't just hit the connection, because I might overlook you.
Right to the top of the line. Jeff Baietto is a good-looking guy. That'll take you to the top of Ed's list with all the perks and advantages that come with that.
He's a very handsome, wholesome guy from Wisconsin. There you go.
Awesome. So we'll obviously put your LinkedIn link in the description here. And can you tell just a little bit? I know you do those weekly, the weekly webinars. Is there one coming up? Is that on a consistent day and week?
Yeah. So the way it works is, so every Monday we do a live webinar and it gets recorded. So what I say to people is, regardless of wherever you are in the world, even if you can't make the time, sign up anyway, because you'll get the recording. The webinars are done on Monday, 8 p.m. Sydney time.
Okay.
So again, wherever you are in the world, just check it against your own local time zone. But again, even if you can't make it, sign up, you'll get the recordings. They go for roughly an hour, and they're very highly acclaimed, and you're very invited.
Beautiful. So we'll put the link to the one that's coming up as when this gets released, and hopefully that's going to be a really nice. Our group will really benefit, obviously, from as much time as they possibly can. And so I just want to take a moment before we head into the very end here, just for everyone listening. there's a lot here. There's a lot that Edward shared. There's a lot. So listen, and then go back and listen again, and listen from a place of, what is it that you can apply right now? What are some of the things that you can actually take action on to start moving in the direction? One of the things I love that Edward said, I wrote down, is you have to be ready to take action. If you want more success in your life, you have to be ready to do the things that are necessary. And when you have an expert and who's freely giving, which is again the other thing that I see consistently, when you're at the top of an industry, you give freely, and you just do that because you want the world to know what you know, and you want to be of service. And Ed does that in a lot of different ways. So listen to this, get connected with him on LinkedIn, read through his previous posts, stay connected with his current ones. And then obviously this weekly webinar sounds like just another place to really take your game to the next level and get a whole bunch of really valuable content. So I want to just thank you for who you are, for what you stand for in the world, and for helping so many people, all of us, so many of us, shorten the amount of time from where we are to where we want to be, and by sharing your experience and the tips and all the expertise that you've garnered over the years.
Oh, it's an honor, Jeff, and thank you. And I just want to say thank you for watching the interview. Again, if you are watching this podcast, please get into contact. And you're very handsome and beautiful. Just remember that.
Thanks, Ed.